a mistaken goal. A mistaken goal is the primary goal of all children when they are seeking to get attention that they feel they are due from their parents or from anyone in the household. And they come up with acting out behavior to get your attention. And so they have a goal, and the goal is to get your attention. And it's a mistaken goal because they're using negative means to do it. And they're using negative means to do it because they haven't been taught a proper way, to do it, or a proper time. So, children are learning as they go along, and so are parents. And this is why we need parenting classes, because children do not come with an instruction book, and we don't get books when they come out. It would be great because every person is different and individual. Wouldn't it be great if each one came with a manual of how to deal with this particular person in general? My goodness, if I can write that, I'd be rich. So the primary goal of the child is to belong, is to feel significant in that moment. And I noticed also that this is something that adults do too. All of us are not emotionally mature. Tongue twister. So when you feel like you're being ignored or you're feeling insignificant, we have these behaviors or these things that we do. We might pout. I think I probably go into my own corner and just wait for the person, to notice, that I'm feeling upset. Ooh, I'm over here being mad at you. Do you know? So we all have our own little ways, and children do too. And some of the 4 things that we're going to look at today are the mistaken goals that children have. The first one would be the child's goal is undue attention, and they try to keep you busy, or to get special services from you at a time when they know that you are busy, or at a time that is normally outside of the allotted time or the set aside time that you would make to spend with them. Hopefully you have that. Last week I did a great video on family meetings, and I hope you go back and watch it. This is going to be a series, and I'm also doing or structuring a positive parenting class to do in the Seattle area. Pierce County, King County. So if you're in the area and you want to participate in them, stay tuned, because it's so much more beneficial in person than it is to learn online. Okay, and so you get the benefit of other people's problems and the wisdom that they gain through the classes. We'll do role playing, role modeling before the skills are implemented, and then we'll take people and give them the skills and have them redo the activity so you can see the difference and the outcomes when a parent has tools or ammunition that they can use. So a child's goal, number 1, is undue attention, is to keep you busy or to distract you and to get your attention when you're doing something important. All right, and then the parent feels annoyed and irritated, and maybe even a little guilty because they're not giving the time to the child. And they tend to react by reminding or coaxing the child into a different behavior, or trying to cuddle with them while they're doing this important thing. Things for the child that he or she can do for themselves. So if, for instance, you're on the telephone or you're paying a bill and your child comes along and says, "Can you help me, Mommy?" or "Can you help me, Daddy? I need help doing this." And good and well it's something that they could do alone. In that moment that they're asking for your attention. Now, that you want to give them your attention, but you want to give them attention when you're done. Okay, so the child, after you give them the attention that they wanted, they may stop for a little while. But once you're engaged in that activity that's important to you too long, they will come back again and they will try and come up with something else to distract you. Okay, so they're trying to get undue attention. And the belief that behind the child's behavior is that they're not important, or that they're insignificant, or that they don't belong. And they start to feel insecure, and so they want to feel important. And they feel like the only way they can be important is if they can get your attention while you're doing something that's important. You might not be doing anything, watching TV, and they might not bother you then because that's not important. especially when you're doing something that they sense is important, and they come along and they want your attention in that moment. They want to know that they're as important to you as that thing that you're doing. Notice me, Mom. Hey, Dad, I'm over here. Am I important to you too? And you want to let them know that you are important to them, and you want to redirect. And this is what you can do. You can redirect them by giving them something to do, give them a quick hug, and say, hey, why don't you sit right over here next to Mom and color in this coloring book, and I'm going to be finished in 15 minutes, and then we're going to do something together. I love you, and I will spend time with you in 15 minutes, okay? Or another thing you can do is spend time with them before you get involved in your activity, when possible. You might not be able to, but reminding them sometimes is necessary during the event. If you're on the phone or if you're paying bills or whatever it is that came up that you need to do. The second one is number 2 is power. When the child is trying to be the boss in the situation, they're angry and you're angry, so they're provoked to anger because they're really not getting your attention and they want it, okay? So you feel challenged, they feel angry, you feel provoked, okay? So the parent tends to act by fighting back, or you might tend to act by getting angry yourself, or thinking, oh, you're not going to get away with this, or I'll make you, and you try and use force, either verbally or physically, to force the child into a different behavior. And all this does, and for the child, is to cause them to intensify the behavior that you don't want. Okay, and they become defiant, and they feel like they won because they've totally taken you out of your character, number one, and they've taken you away from the thing that you're trying to do, which is important to you. And now they've made themselves that most important thing in the moment. Okay, and so in this moment, they feel like they've won. And they really will if you don't handle this moment very wisely, So the message that they're getting is, I belong and I am only important when I am in control, when I take power, when I act out in negative ways, I get my parents' attention. Maybe they're kicking and screaming or throwing something or starting a fight with their brother or sister. And good and well, you've already told them that you need to do something for a little while that's important and that you were going to spend time with them later, but they don't care. Sometimes it's something that you might look at. Is it something that you always do? But as a parent, you need to make those decisions in the moment for yourself. So what can you do? Again, like I said, acknowledge that you can't make him or her, stop doing what they're doing, if that's an issue. Okay, and if they are actually standing up to you and saying, you can't make me do this, you can give them a choice. Either you do this, you stop doing this, or this is going to be your consequence. And make sure that the consequence that they have or the other choice that they have is something that you're able to follow through with. You can't say, I'm going to kick you into Timbuktu, because first of all, where is Timbuktu? And number 2, you can't kick anybody too far, because your leg will break or your ankle will break before they move, So offer a limited choice. I wouldn't say more than 2 things. Well, you know what? Either you go and you color, or you go to your room. Which one would you rather do? And so they make the choice. You're right, you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? And so when you give them a choice, you know what happens? They automatically forget that they were in charge and that there was a power struggle, because now you've taken the power back and you've given them choices. And now they get to make a choice on how this situation is going to end for them. So either they're going to continue their behavior and receive a negative consequence, or they're going to go to their room. They could stay where they are and be quiet, or they can go to their room and be isolated and get no attention whatsoever. So you want to be firm and you want to be kind, and you want to be consistent. When you want to look at them and let them know that you're not budging. And you want to reassure them that you have time set aside when you are finished. Okay. Another thing, if it's not too much of a problem that I've learned, is to ignore inappropriate behavior. And they may stop a little longer or a little later than what you would choose. But over time, when you create a habit and they know that you're going to ignore them when they act inappropriately, then they're going to stop acting inappropriately. And that is in a situation where there's no harm being done to anyone. So you want to make sure there's no harm being done to anyone. Maybe they're going to make a little noise, but you can still do what you're doing, okay? But you're not going to allow them to distract you with negative behavior. Because every time you feed the negative behavior, they're going to continue to model negative behavior in order to get your attention and in order to get the things that they want, okay? And so when you use the family meetings, you can talk about structuring time for each child. Okay, and the amount of time that you need to structure for each child is quality time, and family time is something that I'll talk about in another video. But it does need to be specific for their age, and you need to plan activities that are appropriate for their age, and a certain number of times a week that you set aside to spend time with your children. And of course, in every day. And every day, but every day is not going to be as long of an activity that you will plan for a weekly activity with each one of your children or with your family as a whole. And like I said, a family meeting is a great place to start talking about these things. And a family meeting says, hey, everybody here is important. Everybody here, has a voice. Everybody here, is going to be involved in planning our future, and discussing the things that are currently happening and talking about things in the past that have happened that you don't feel comfortable with. So this is why family meetings are so important. And then you take notes, and then you look at the growth, and you talk about things that you're going to target that you want to change or that you want to work on. Or maybe you just want to plan a family vacation, and you can do that, in a family meeting, or work on goals together as a family, and it's a great thing. So far we have number 1 and 2. Undue attention and power, seeking to be the boss. So with undue attention, you're going to redirect the behavior, and with power, you're going to give them choices, okay? And you're going to know that they're seeking your behavior through negative means, okay? And trying to force you, to make a choice in that moment, or telling you that you can't make them do something. So you disarm them, and all of these things that I'm telling you is giving you ammunition. Okay, so you have to be prepared, for children when they act out, or when you have a teenager and they're going out. Hey, if they don't come back on time, don't wait till the last moment to decide what you're going to do. Know what you're going to do already, when that day comes, or else you're going to stand there looking stupid, or feeling stupid, and they're going to see that stupid look all over your face. So, planning for not necessarily punishments, but consequences, for inappropriate behavior. And those will be decided, and we'll talk about that and in a couple of minutes, how you're going to establish those rules in the family meeting or just with the child individually as situations occur and as need be, okay? So number 3 is revenge. The child's goal is revenge, to get even with you. And they are feeling hurt, disappointed, and disgusted, and so are you. You're feeling hurt, and you're feeling like, oh my God, I cannot believe how my child is treating me this way. And the child's anger or frustration level is so high that they feel like they have no other recourse than to act out. And yeah, they decide. They choose to decide. They choose to act out. They choose to cause you crazy, and cause you craziness. And they feel good when they get you to that point. Okay, so don't take it personally. Just recognize in the moment that what the child is feeling and what the child is believing that's causing them to act the way that they are. Okay, so what the child is believing in that moment is when they're seeking revenge or to hurt you in some way, is that they don't feel important and they don't feel like they belong. And so they're trying to act out in a way where you'll know that they're angry, or just because they are angry and they're hurt, they don't care anymore. When people feel like they don't have anything to lose, well then, hey, they start doing whatever they want to do. And that's true for adults too. A lot of these things are true for adults too. A lot of us, like I said, we are not emotionally mature. Emotional maturity comes when you've been taught or after you've learned by experiences. And a lot of times, like I said, we go through life without this education. So, what can the adult do when the child is acting out and seeking revenge? Okay, you can set limits on hurtful behavior. Okay, now either you're going to deal with the hurt feelings and you're going to address them in that moment and say, you know what? I can tell by your behavior that you're really angry right now and that you're upset. I think that you're upset with me, or perhaps they're upset about the situation. Or you can say, I know that you're upset with your brother or your dad or because of what happened. Okay, and I really want to talk with you about it, but right now might not be the best time. So I'm going to give you 5 or 10 minutes to calm down, and when you're ready, please come and talk to me, or I'll be back. Okay, and then you get them to agree. Okay, so what you want to do is to first create a situation where tensions can calm down so that people can respond in an appropriate way. They can think about what they want to say and they can be heard. Okay, so don't take the behavior personally, and there's no need to apologize, avoid punishment or retaliation, or even if your child says, you can't make me do this, your first inclination is to win. I remember a point in time when I realized I didn't have to win every argument with my child. It was exhausting trying to anyway, and I would surrender sometimes, and that even helped disarm them in the future because they realized that you don't always feel like you need to win. That's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is not a win-lose. The ultimate goal is a win-win. Remember that. The ultimate goal is when everybody wins, okay? Not when you win because you're the parent. That's not the ultimate goal. All that does is say, hey, they think they're the boss of me. I'm going to show them. So you want to show them that you do care, and you want to point out their strengths and the good aspects about them, and use those strengths and those good aspects about them to let them know that you believe that they're going to handle the situation correctly and that you guys are going to resolve it together. Use family meetings. Use family meetings. I can't stress it enough. This was the one single most component that I added to my life as a single parent that really changed things. Okay, so the last thing is a child's goal in the mistaken goal behavior or chart is to give up. Okay, assume that they're inadequate and they're just going to isolate and they want to be left alone. They don't want to hear anything anybody has to say. They don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to do anything. And the parent feels the same sense of hopelessness and despair or helplessness and inadequacy that the child does in this moment. The child's given up, and if you don't have any skills, you're going to give up and feel hopeless too. You might have to call somebody, or you want to take them to counseling or to a counselor or talk to the teacher. So when you take parenting classes, you empower yourself with tools, and you don't have to run to somebody else. You get to know your child, and you get to know what you can do in different situations. Okay, so the parent can give up too and feel hopelessness and a sense of inadequacy, and turn the other way around by becoming too passive and offering them things that you wouldn't normally do, like, do you want to go to the mall? You want to go get some ice cream? And you just keep on coddling them because you want to make sure that they're not mad or mad at you. And so you're doing over helping, or you need help with your homework, or they're not even speaking to you in this moment. They're just withdrawn, and the child may have no response, or they just might, continue to ignore you because they see that they're in control. Now they have the power. And that is manipulative. It turns into manipulative behavior. It may not have been in the beginning, but when they see your weaknesses and when they see that you're over caring, okay, then they can retreat into further isolating behavior to cause you to keep on coddling or coming to their need. And that way they get attention, right? So the belief that the child has, which starts the behavior, is that I do not belong. I cannot convince myself or other people's that I am significant. Okay, and they don't want anyone to expect anything from them. All right, they just feel helpless and unable to be important or to achieve anything of significance, and might feel like they can't do anything right, you know. Now, this is not necessarily only about behavior, it's just about giving up in general. Like, one of my sons was so close to graduating and was a couple of credits short. And we were all at the graduation, and it turned out that he was in the office in that moment doing work. He had already found out he wasn't going to graduate, but we already knew. I mean, we didn't know. So this was from eighth grade, and he was upset, you know. And then I had to really encourage him that it was okay, you know, if he wasn't ready. You know that every child and every person learns at a different level or in their own time and way. So you want to show faith in your child. You want to point out the good things that they have done, their strengths, and encourage them in littler ways, smaller ways, and start saying, "Oh my God, look at your room! It's so nice and clean. You did a great job." Or, you know, "Wow, you know, that's a nice picture that you drew." You want to give them compliments, and you want to give them hugs for no reason. You know, you just want to encourage them not to give up. You know, and when they see that you see that they have value and that they can contribute some things that are positive, you know, into their life, and that you are proud of them, then they will start to enjoy and try. But you have to encourage and make positive attempts to encourage them. Encouragement, encouragement, encouragement is the key. Yeah, you can't give up on your children, because if you do, who's going to be there for them? You know, parenting is a lot of work, and everything that we do should be done with love. You know, so I'm going to leave you with those and remind you that I'm going to be having a parenting class locally in different community centers, maybe even in some schools. So be watching out and to see how you can participate. Now, I've done these classes in the past in treatment centers that I've worked for people who were mandated by court to attend these. Now, I've noticed recently that they have some classes online that you can do in an hour or two and get a certificate to take to court. Now, if I was a judge, I wouldn't accept it, you know, because you can't take an online course in an hour or two and learn parenting skills. You know, you have to have everyday experiential activities that you bring to a group, you know, and that we'll be doing role modeling, role playing, experiential activities that will help you have hands-on experiences. And in some environments, say if the parenting group is in a high school, then it'll be where you can bring your teenager with you, or your husband, and the family unit who needs to have that growth, and you can work on those issues that you have together there. Everybody in the group is going to learn from other people's experiences, so it's a win-win situation, and you're going to gain real experience. And then when you get that certificate, because if you just get a certificate after attending an online class for a few hours, and you go and you get your children back, and you don't have the skills, you know, you're still going to have the same problems. Eventually, you're going to end up back in the same situation where your children are going to be taken away from you again, or they're going to run away, or you're just going to give up too. You're going to feel hopeless. But when you have ammunition, when you have real tools that you can use, just like if you're going to build a house, you need a tool. Whatever you're going to fix or do, you need something to help you. And positive parenting classes are those tools that are going to help you and your family get to the next step. So again, I'd like to encourage you to go back and watch the video on family meetings, because those are a great way to include everyone in the family. You want to tell you how to structure their family meetings. and what the family meetings are for, and how valuable they are to helping each member in the family feel valid, feel important, like they belong, and that you work on goals together, you address family issues together, like chores, punishments, restrictions, or whatever things that they want to talk about. Those things that can be handled in the family meeting, and they include everyone that's living in the house if you can. So thank you for tuning in to this second class on positive parenting, mistaken goals. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about next week, but don't hesitate to watch. Get involved. I think I might talk about enabling, and instead of enabling our children, how we can empower them to do better. And, even with my a couple of my adult children, I can use some of this advice again myself, or some reminders. Sometimes we all need it. So don't be afraid to become a better parent, to become a better you. Because when you become a better parent, you produce healthier children. And that's what this is all about, right? Peace and bliss.